Hello everyone, welcome to Fur and Feathers. So today we're going to be making some lye soap. It's sort of the recipe of the old-timey lye soap that old people used to use, but that soap was more of a drying out kind of soap. This soap that I make actually has coconut oil in it, and so it makes your skin soft and friendly. So today I've got all my things here, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to kind of see. Let me point my camera down if I can a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we start with our pan. You're not supposed to use metal because of the chemical reaction that could react with the metal pans. So what I do is I take press and seal and line my pan with it. So technically my soap is not touching my pan, it's touching the saran wrap, press and seal. I have lard. Now normally I would have lard that I've rendered from pigs, but we don't have any of that right now. So I've actually bought this 4-pound tub of lard, pretty and white, you can actually get it from Walmart or any local grocery store, I believe, has it. It's not very expensive. And then I have my coconut oil that I use. I don't use anything organic because it's more expensive and I'm all about being cheap. And then I use grapeseed oil as well. Now my recipe actually calls for olive oil, coconut oil, sunflower oil. Sunflower oil and olive oil are a little bit difficult to find, so I just use a little extra of the coconut oil and then my grapeseed oil. It's more of a dry oil, so it doesn't dry you out, it just doesn't grease you up either. And you have to use sodium hydroxide, which is drain cleaner. This can be found at any hardware store, but you have to ask for it, because folks like to use it for other things than good stuff. So drain opener or lye soap, they actually use it to make illegal things, and we won't go into that. So anyway, they have to put it behind the counter, so you have to ask for it. Then I have my scent. You can use any kind of oil scent. You can use essential oils, and I have used that before, but I choose not to do that because you have to use almost a whole bottle and they're not very cheap anymore. So I just use, this was actually Yankee Candle plug-in, and I just took the top out of it, the wick out of it. And you want to smell it? Okay, who's sniffing? This is cedar, not sure. It smells like a woodsy kind of smell, and I like the smell of it, so we were gonna make some soap with using that scent. And I've got my handy dandy little containers here to be able to weigh out my oils with. I've got a special measuring cup. It's a plastic measuring cup that I put my sodium hydroxide in along with my water, and so that goes with that mixture. And then I have, it's an old crock pot insert. The crock pot quit heating a couple of years ago, and I try not to throw things away that I can possibly use. So I kept the crock out of it, and so it's non-metal. And so I mix my soap up in this once everything gets moved together. And then I've got my stick blender to be able to mix it up with, and I'll show you kind of what we're doing with it as we move along. And my scale, this is important. So this is just a scale from Walmart. It's a digital scale, and it weighs pounds and ounces, and also fluid ounces. And so you need a scale. You have to weigh everything out. It's very important to weigh everything out, because everything has to be exactly the same. So you can't just do this the way Grandma used to cook and just add a pinch here and there and hope that it's okay, because it's not. When you're messing with chemicals, you do not want to overdo it. So, first of all, I start with my oils. Or no, I'll start with my lard, I'm sorry. So, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna point this down here. We're not ready for that yet. So I get my lard. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna weigh my container. I'm gonna zero that out. And I've got to have 14 ounces of lard. So we're on pounds and ounces. And this makes one batch. So I don't make really big batches like Grandma used to, because I don't have a cauldron to do that with. And I mean, it's just me and my little family, so I don't need a huge batch. It's just gonna last me a couple years of soap. So we're at 13.7. It's 14.6, so I'll take a little bit out. And this is just for my family's use. I don't sell this or anything. If you're lucky, I'll give you a bar. Only my special folks get my stuff that I make, because not everybody appreciates homemade things. And so I have to be a little discreet about it. I don't want to put my time and effort into something and then you throw it away. So I'm going to point this camera over to my stove back here. So I've got a pot back here that I've dumped all of the oils in. Get all as much as I can out of the container. Okay. So that's my lard in my pot over there, and I'll turn it on in just a minute. Let's see, I think this will actually work here. So then I have to put my container back on here and zero it again, because it does have some residue in it and it does weigh. So we're going to zero this again. And I need 12 ounces of coconut oil. And I'm not going to have enough in this container. I don't know, I might. Nope, I'm not going to have enough in that container. But that's okay, because I have another container. So we need 12 ounces and we're at 11. So one more ounce. And that's 12.6. 11.9. Geez. 12.2. 12. Okay. So I'm going to go dump this into my pot. Okay, put my container back on here again, zero it again, and I'm going to need 6 ounces of grapeseed oil. Zero, there we go. I have 5.9, of course. 2 more drops, 10 more drops. This must be that diet oil. There we go, 6 ounces. So I'm gonna mix all this together. Now turn the stove on. So you want to put all of your oils, fats into your pan or your pot. and you want to be able to melt those until everything becomes clear. While that's working, we're going to mix our sodium hydroxide. And let it be kind of cooling a little bit. All right, so we're going to need 12 ounces of water. Now my measuring cup says 12 ounces, but I'm going to measure it to the weight scale actually. Normally it's the same thing, 12 ounces is 12 ounces, but this is the tricky part, so you want it to be as near perfect as you can get it. 11, 5, 7, 8, 9, 12. And we have a couple little drops left. We're just going to stick there. All right, so we have 12 ounces of water here. You have to weigh every container every time, just to be sure. That's the part that you always dot your I's and cross your T's on everything. So we need 4.3 ounces of sodium hydroxide. Two, 3, 4.2, 4.3. I like to keep this closed. Number one, it's got fumes in it, and you do not want to inhale that if you can help it. Number two, with animals, I mean, we don't allow animals on our counters, our tables, but some things always happen. And so I like to keep everything closed just in case. I used to blame things on the kids, but I can't do that anymore. All right, so you've got your water and you've got your sodium hydroxide. You do not want to use a metal spoon with your sodium hydroxide. It will react. So I actually use a plastic. I've used a wooden spoon before, and the sodium hydroxide eventually ate through the handle, so I'm back down to a plastic spoon until that doesn't work. You never, ever, ever add water to your chemical. You always add chemical to your water. And the reason being, if you pour water over into this sodium hydroxide here, it's going to come down into the bottom and make kind of a volcano, and it will explode. Literally explode. So you want to be able to add the chemical to your water very slowly. Okay, got a little bit left here. For the most part, it's empty. It's getting a little fumy, so I'm gonna try to hurry up. And just stir it until you don't feel any clumps in the bottom. Till everything is dissolved. It's getting hot. It'll get up to about 150 degrees actually. Fumy. Yep, it's almost like oven cleaner. Rinsing off my spoon. I like to rinse it really, really good. Get any chemical off. Okay, I turned the exhaust fan on because it was getting a little fumy. All right, so we're done with all of our oil. I'm just letting it kind of cool a little bit, real quick. I'll clean up a little so you can actually see what I'm doing and not look to the mess. Anything that the sodium hydroxide touches, I rinse with cold water very, very good. I only use these items for soap making. I do not use them for my food to cook in and that kind of stuff. So there's no chance of harming anybody. All right, I'm gonna take you over and let you kind of see what's going on. So our oils, you see that, I hope? Our oils are about melted. Fats, just about melted. Get off there. And our sodium hydroxide is very warm. You may be able to see some steam coming off of it. This is what the sodium hydroxide has done to the stove eye. We just made 5 batches of soap yesterday, so for a friend, so I haven't gotten all that off yet, but eventually it'll come off. I'll scrub it until it comes off. So we're almost ready. Now, we have, I'll put you back over here so we can chat. We have, there we go. Okay. Get all that out of the way. We have a cold process soap and we have a hot process soap. So the cold process soap, you have to make sure everything gets to the same temperature. So if your fats are 100 degrees, you've got to have your sodium hydroxide at 100 degrees. Everything has to be exactly the same in order for it to work. And then you have to pour it up, leave it in the mold, which basically for both of these, leave it in the mold for 24 hours, let it kind of harden, set, and then it takes forever for it to get right, so to speak. The hot process soap, once everything is melted, so everything is pretty well melted now, I'm gonna cut this off. Let the sodium hydroxide kind of cool down just a little bit, because it still is at 150 degrees, although the oils probably is too. But the hot process soap is very simple. So you just got to get everything melted, so to speak. So right now it's okay for us to go ahead and put everything together and mix it all up. I do like for my sodium hydroxide to kind of cool just a little bit, just because I don't want any explosions. And if it explodes, I don't want it to burn me. It's bad enough to blow up the kitchen. I sure don't want to burn myself in the process. So I use the hot process soap making. It just seems like it's easier, quicker, kind of, so to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and put my oils over into my crock. And I mean, it's probably about 150 degrees. All right. Sodium hydroxide. Be very careful with this. Stick blender. I've burned up quite a few of these. hope today is not a day to burn them up because I don't have an extra one. Maybe a little bit closer here. It's a little difficult doing everything yourself. I'm here by myself, so I don't get that very often either. All right, so I'm going to mix the sodium hydroxide to the cooking oil. And there's really nothing to see here. Just pouring it in. I will put the camera down and show you what is happening in just a second. Okay. See how talented I am here without dumping my phone over. All right, so here's what the sodium hydroxide and the fats look like. Now, I'm going to show you what they look like when they get mixed really good. You do not want it to splatter on you because it will burn your skin. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like for the next probably 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and mix it, and I will then show you what it looks like when it's almost finished. Let me put you back down right there. Get mixed really good. You do not want it to splatter on you because it will burn your skin. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like for the next probably 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and mix it, and I will then show you what it looks like when it's almost finished. Let me put you back down right there. this is starting to really work very well, and it's beginning to start to trace, which means when you drag this through, you can see the track that it's leaving behind. It's starting to look like pudding. You want it to look like a pudding. I'm gonna do it just a little bit more, just to kind of thicken it up just a little bit. And then we're gonna add our scent. Okay, that was quick. All right, so I'm just gonna add my scent, and I'm just gonna add the whole thing in there and mix it really, really good. Okay, so this is really mixed very well. Smells absolutely amazing. All right, so I let it sit for just a minute longer than I should have. And it's like a pudding. And I'll show you in just a second. Get a spoon. All right, so let me just show you what this looks like. Looks like a pudding, right? So this is what you want it to look like. This soap has what they call saponified. And saponified means that it's had a chemical reaction to it and it is making soap, basically, is what it is. So now I'm going to take my pan lined with my saran wrap, my pressing seal, and this pot is hot, but it's a cold day, so it'll equal out. And I just pour it over. Get as much as I can out of it. You can pour it up when it's more liquid if you want, but I like it pudding, a thick custard texture. It's a little easier to work with. Okay, this crock is really hot. So it's gotta go. And then I just pat it down as pretty as I want it. Now you can add color to it if you want. I chose not to do color just because I'm doing another project and using my color that will last a lot longer than soap, I hope. And I'll have a video on that I'll show after Christmas, because I'm working on some Christmas gifts with some color, and I don't want anybody to see what they may be getting for Christmas. All right, so that's pretty. It'll still burn your skin if you touch it, so you have to be very careful with it. Put this over in here. Now what we'll do is set it over in the window to cure, to set, and tomorrow we will take it out and we'll cut it. And I have a little cutter here. It makes crinkly sides, and we'll cut it. And then I will show you, well, let me just show you now, because I've got some that I did yesterday. So this is what it'll look like tomorrow. So cut it. And you have a pretty big bar of soap. That's 4 ounces actually. No, wait. It's eager to know. I think that's more than 4 ounces. 0. Nope, 3.5. 3.5 ounces. Nope, that's 4 ounces. So that's a good bar of soap. For hand soap, washing in the bathtub, whatever. So I will pick up where I left off tomorrow and show you what we're going to do with this next, and show you how we're going to cut it and what we do with it from there. And this will be a little bit drier too by then. All right, I got to get stuff cleaned up, and thank you guys very much for watching. And if you like what we're doing, hit subscribe so you're not missing an episode, because I never know when I'm going to post. I never know what I'm going to post. That's just what I decided to do today, was to make a batch of soap, because it's about 55 degrees outside and it's too cold for me to be out. And so I find inside work to do on these kind of days. It's been raining and just messy and nasty. So I do go out enough to get all of my chores and things done every day, but to be out in the weather, I just choose to do this on the inside. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you back tomorrow. Okay, so welcome back. We're about 16 hours into our soap. It has set. It will take a few weeks for it to cure, but we need to go ahead and cut it while it's kind of soft. I'm gonna take it out of the pan. Comes out pretty easily out of that metal pan. You smell it? It smells great. And we'll peel the paper off, the pressing seal. Still wet. That's okay. I'll go put it on the drying rack and let it dry. All right. So I have a cutter that I got from Hobby Lobby, and it makes crinkles. I don't know if you can see that or not. Waves. So I'm gonna cut these bars just in slices, about 4 ounce slices. Slices is very, very easy. This is what my bar of soap looks like. It's a pretty good bar. I don't have very big hands, but it does fill up my hand, if that means anything. I'm trying to teach the kitties to stay off the counters. And that kitty thought that he hit the stool, and I whacked him back before he got up on the counter. And now he's not happy because he thinks I'm cutting up food. You don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be symmetric, each piece, because like I said earlier, this is just for me and my little family here. Nothing for commercial use or anything like that. It slices about like cold butter. Okay. So 10 bars of soap that I got out of that. And let me show you my drying rack real quick. It's nothing fancy. It's just you can use your oven rack if you want. My friend that I helped make 5 batches of soap the other day, she's just gonna take her rack out of her oven and put it on there and let it dry. Move you back a little bit so you can actually see. So I'm just laying the bars on the rack. And I have a old dough bowl that this rack sits across. Spread them out a little bit, make them a little more symmetric. But you don't have to put them on anything. So the rack actually lifts up off of the counter enough that air comes underneath it and air dries it. So we have a rack full of soap. Now, I do not have to do this, but just habit from making soap, I do. So every day or every other day when I think about it, I walk by the soap, I'll just flip it. Just turn it over. Don't have to if you put it on a drying rack like this, because the air does circulate through the bottom and it will dry the bottom and the top. But if you do decide to put it on a solid surface like a counter, you'll definitely want to turn it because the bottom will obviously stay moist. So anyway, that's a batch of soap. Smells terrific. And I decided not to put any coloring in it because I'm doing my coloring with another project that will come shortly. Like I said yesterday, I'm doing some Christmas presents right now, and I don't want to reveal what I'm doing because it may be for one of you, and I don't want to spoil that surprise. So after Christmas, I will show that video and show you what I'm doing with the soap color. It's not necessarily soap color, it's any kind of, it's just powder color, so you can put it in a lot of different things. So okay, well, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. If you like what I'm doing, hit subscribe or like, and that way you won't miss an episode. Thanks, y'all have a good day.